Chad Gadya, Chad Gadya. One of our favorite songs from our Seder, Chad Gadya, tells the story of how one little goat has the power to bring redemption to the world, to bring God to vanquish death, and to stop the stick from hitting the dog from biting the cat, and you know the rest, to bring redemption and peace so that all nature and all humanity will live side by side peacefully. This week in Israel, we saw a real-life Chad Gadya story, featuring not a goat bought for 2 zuzim by a father for a child, but a dog that made its long journey home. That dog is Billy, and on October 7th, Hamas terrorists kidnapped Billy the dog from kibbutz Nir Oz on the Gaza envelope, one of the most devastated kibbutzim that still has 14 residents who are hostages in Gaza. On Pesach, we believe that one little goat, Chad Gadya, can be a pathway to redemption for us all. And Billy the dog was returned home to her family on Wednesday after the IDF found her in Rafah in the southern Gaza Strip. The 3.5-year-old Cavalier King Charles Spaniel belongs to Rachel Danzig, the divorcee of Alex Danzig, who was abducted to Gaza on October 7th and murdered in captivity. His body was recovered by the IDF this past August, and her brother, Itzik El-Garat, was also taken hostage from the kibbutz and murdered in Gaza. Throughout all her pain and loss, the family spent months looking for their dog, Billy, and they feared the worst, as the only one trace of their beloved pet was a bloodstain on their home. Rachel spoke on Wednesday while stroking Billy on her lap, saying, I hadn't managed to get her into our safe room, and I imagined that they had killed her because they killed all the other dogs in our kibbutz. But my daughter always said, Mom, she has to still be alive. Aviad Shapiro, a reservist in the IDF who served more than 300 days in Gaza, said that when he put his eyes upon that dog, the dog ran straight into his arms. He said, she looked me in the eye, and I at that moment said, Shalom, and that's what came out. She jumped onto me, and I lifted her up, and I said to myself, she has to come back with me to Israel. He proceeded to care for the dog for 4 days while still serving in Gaza and insisted that he be allowed to take her home with him to Israel to find its owner. After spending Seder, Billy did, at Aviad's family table in Israel, Shapira brought the dog to a veterinarian who tested her microchip implant and found out that she belonged to the Danzig family from kibbutz Nir Oz. Video on Wednesday showed the emotional reunion of that family with Billy. The embrace that Billy received from the entire nation of Israel upon her return shows how much we are all longing for and in need of miracles like this. The family said, you showed us light amid great darkness, and we pray that that great miracle will also come for the remaining 59 hostages who are languishing in Gaza, that they should also return home. Pesach can be understood as a vertical holiday, a holiday that traces our trajectory from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs. And on Seder night, we begin in slavery and degradation, beganai, la'avdut u'cherut. We begin at our lowest point, the point of maror and bitterness, with despair, without hope. Or perhaps this year as a lemon, as Rachel Goldberg suggested. Throughout Seder night and each intermediate day of Chol HaMoed, we began a slow ascent towards redemption and sweetness, better days, reunions, as we count the Omer, climbing our way from the pits of despair to march together on the road to Mount Sinai and then on to the Holy Land of Israel. Pesach begins our journey home, just like that for Billy the dog. Today is the 7th day of Pesach. We celebrate the anniversary when our ancestors crossed the sea. The splitting of the Sea of Reeds was a striking historical event, a miracle that saved our people, literally birthed a nation, freeing the slaves, leading our ancestors to freedom, Rabbi Adin Steinsaltz, in his classic work, Change and Renewal, writes, like other events in Jewish history, the importance of splitting the sea extends far beyond its historical time and place. Rabbis teach that in every generation we are obligated to see ourselves as though we personally went forth from Egypt, that we personally crossed the sea, that we were personally freed. This moment is endowed with inner and eternal meaning for us. Besides just a memory of the past that we recall, it is an aim and aspiration for every Jew, every one of us, to cross and split our own personal sea of reeds that stands before us. In just a few moments, we'll chant Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs, the biblical book, which is a love poem, a song following young lovers through a garden, or perhaps the Garden of Eden, or the palace garden of King Solomon, for whom the book is attributed. The rabbis understand this book as an allegory, telling of the love between God and the Jewish people, how lovers search for each other. They don't give up for their partner, how Rachel and Billy the dog long to be reunited, and how we too, the Jewish people, faithfully devote our lives to God and our tradition. Pesach is considered the birth of the Jewish people. We entered Egypt solely as a family, but we left as Am Yisrael, a nation and a people. And this is our love story. How God lovingly brought us out of Egypt as we crossed the sea. How God lovingly brought us out of bondage, step by step caring for us, providing everything for love, as we say in Dayenu. Let it be that this seventh day of Pesach be a new beginning for each of us, that we can split our own seas, that we can reach across chasms in our lives, in our relationships, in our country, in our world, to stretch and reconnect, to mind the gap that continues to seemingly grow, to pass the impossible, to cross that sea of reeds. May we be inspired to free ourselves, to redeem ourselves, to reunite, to strengthen together as we continue our journey to our own holy lands, and as we long to be home again, like Billy the dog, asleep in the lap of Rachel. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.